The United States Supreme Court has delivered a historic blow to former President Donald Trump's trade policy, overturning a significant portion of the tariffs he imposed. This landmark ruling raises a myriad of economic and political questions, sparking uncertainty across global markets. At the heart of the decision are the so-called reciprocal tariffs that Trump imposed on dozens of trading partners, including the European Union, during Liberation Day in April of last year. These particular tariffs were justified by Trump under a law intended for national emergencies. However, the Supreme Court ruled that only these specific tariffs, invoked under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, are affected. It's crucial to note that the court did not touch the existing sector-specific tariffs on industries like steel, aluminum, and automobiles, as those were justified on different grounds. The Supreme Court's argument did not delve into whether a national emergency truly existed, as Trump had claimed. Instead, it focused on the president's misuse of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The court stated explicitly in its judgment that, had Congress intended to confer the clear and extraordinary authority to impose tariffs, it would have done so expressly. This underscores a fundamental principle of the United States Constitution: the power to levy tariffs rests with Congress, not the president. Ironically, despite Trump's tariffs, the United States' notorious trade deficit, which has seen it import more than it exports since 1976, actually grew to a record $1.24 trillion United States dollars last year. The immediate practical implications of this ruling remain unclear. The court has not set a deadline for the administration to lift the tariffs, leaving the implementation to relevant authorities who may take their time. Any disputes over these delays will likely end up back in court. Furthermore, the United States government has since reached agreements with many trading partners, including the European Union, leading to new tariff rates. Tariffs imposed under such subsequent agreements may potentially remain in effect. This ruling does not signal the end of Trump's tariff policies. The administration is already seeking alternative justifications to maintain as many of the tariffs as possible. United States Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has announced that the government will look for other legal grounds, and Trump himself had hinted at a Plan B in case of a court defeat. For German businesses, the verdict brings new uncertainty. Many anticipate that the Trump administration will simply seek a new legal basis for its tariffs. Volker Trier, head of foreign trade at the German Chambers of Industry and Commerce, warned that there are still other instruments for trade-restrictive United States measures in the hands of the United States administration, to which the German economy must adapt. Domestically, the impact on United States industry is uncertain. Trump's tariffs have so far failed to trigger the industrial renaissance he promised, and the manufacturing sector has not gained jobs but rather continued to lose them. Much of the current economic growth in the United States is tied to investments in artificial intelligence and data centers by major technology companies. Whether the wrongfully collected tariffs will be repaid is also undecided. Economists estimate that potentially $175 billion might need to be refunded. However, this poses a problem. The tariffs were paid by importers to the United States Treasury, not by foreign manufacturers. Importers would receive billions, even though they largely passed on the cost of the tariffs to their customers. Politically, this ruling could curb Trump's international maneuvering room, but only if he fails to find a legal alternative to bypass Congress and impose fees. Tariffs have been his preferred diplomatic weapon to unilaterally enforce his will, as seen in the Greenland crisis or in compelling Mexico to increase border security. This is the first time in Trump's second term that the Supreme Court has issued such a clear stop sign. In many previous decisions, a majority of judges sided with the White House. This tariff ruling, however, was decided by a 6-3 majority, with 3 of the 6 conservative judges ruling against Trump's use of the emergency law. His public pressure, which included calling a potential decision against the tariffs the greatest danger in history and claiming it would literally destroy the United States, proved futile. While Trump has not reached his zenith, this ruling marks the first visible limit to his power, the Supreme Court. Whether it will halt him in other areas remains to be seen. With congressional elections approaching in November, and if current rules apply, Republicans are likely to lose their majority in at least one chamber. This would lead to more critical questions from Parliament regarding White House policy. However, Trump is expected to continue trying to push his agenda through decrees and executive power, making the Supreme Court's role crucial in deciding, case by case, where else to restrain him. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story. This video was generated using artificial intelligence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more updates. See you next time.